hides. So, yeah, like I put up there, no Jenga at least before we start the test. Maybe we'll sneak some in after the test. We're not really behind on pacing, aside from the snow days totally messed up my plan. Because I knew about this doctor appointment coming, and I can't change it, because it's, blood work and stuff like that. So they, need me here. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to move this to actually where we need it. Please make sure you got 625 from the back counter. Why did I say that today is Thursday? It's Tuesday. Yeah, but I know what day of the week it is, so I'm real confused at how my brain let me get away with that. Alright, so on your 625, you already have a couple examples from class there. Go ahead and dive into those with your partner. Obviously, one feels much easier than the other. Well, let's just go ahead and knock those out. You're trying to find the scale factor of them. You're trying to find the scale factor of them. Now, I've been letting us kind of get away with not actually using the scale factor appropriately always. There is a specific way that we're supposed to be talking about the scale factor. And it is the comparison. Anyone want to help me out if you think you know of what to what versus the other way? By the way, did you forget these in here yesterday? Because I thought I got these together for you, but then I found them, so maybe you had other copies also. These got left in here. Did you take copies of these yesterday? Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do them, right? If these were homeworks that you missed, as long as you don't have them, you can keep them. Yeah, that's 61, 22, 23. Also, I don't know why it's not having this disappear. I think my whole software's... There we go. No, get out of here. I don't know what's happening today, guys. Apparently my recording software is just angry. Alright, anyone think they know how we actually do scale factor? It's on the board. So legitimately, it matters. We need to start caring about this because on those annoying state tests where it's multiple choice and a robot grades it, at least most of it, there are actual human graders, it's either right or wrong. And if you give the scale factor and it's reciprocal, hey Jack, if you're going to be doing anything that is not listening to my lesson, I would advise working on some of those missing homeworks, not the choice that you're making. Do we need to talk any more about this? Sweet. Scale factor is actually new, or the copy, or whatever they call it, to the original. So we always actually have to be dividing by the original value. So some of us have been saying the scale factor is a half when it's actually 2. Or some of us have been saying the scale factor is 4 when it's actually a 4th, right? We need to pay attention to, are we getting larger or are we getting smaller? If we're getting larger, it's going to be a number bigger than 1. If we're getting smaller, it's going to be a number less than 1, right? That makes sense. So this is legit the rule. So here, sure, we could say the scale factor is 5/4 or 4/5, but that's not allowed, actually. I know that's what we've been doing, but if the original compared to the new, all right, I can't stand that. So technically, with these triangles, our scale factor is 5 to 4. It needs to be a number greater than 1, because our new was larger than the original. So on our paper, hopefully you already have 5/4 for that one. But the trapezoids, right? What was the technical scale factor of our trapezoids, Jeremiah? Yeah, from original to... Okay, so that's the problem. We're going to the new. But when we're comparing, it's new over original. So, sorry, I want to make sure I'm like asking this in the right way. What we're saying is, how do I get from the original and land at the new? Yeah, it's 1/2. Now, if you look the other way around, you could say, oh, it's doubling, but it's not. We have to start to care about here. The scale factor is actually the fraction 1/2. And here, the scale factor is actually 5/4. Questions about that? By the way, you are going to need graph paper for this homework, but not for question 92. Go ahead and do question 92 while it's fresh on your brain. By the way, this arrow, this is kind of why I figured we'd stop here. This is telling us that this is our new, right? Because the arrow, we go to the new. That is telling us that that is our new. So what is our scale factor here? Anybody?
3.
3. Right, our scale factor here would be 3. Alright, so I hope we're still in the habit of having some graph paper, but for some of this, I don't know that we'll necessarily need to write things down. So, Isaac, Claudia, and Paula are all looking at these shapes, and they're asked to find the scale factor. Claudia does what she does, Isaac does what he does, and Paula does what she does. And we need to analyze, did anyone make a mistake? Right? Like if you're the teacher, or if you're giving them some feedback, did they all do it right? Did anyone goof it up? And if so, what feedback would we give them? So I don't know that you have to write anything down for this, but I would suggest you talk with a partner. Is this just how many people we have sick, or did something happen that Estes kept some of you guys?
I think everyone's. I just think a lot of people.
Okay. My friend Dave, goes Dave, right? Whatever. But no, my friend Dave teaches elementary. Of their school of 700 kids, 200 were sick yesterday. That is 15%. So here, if we do, so there's 150 kids at Phoenix right now. What would 10% be? 15. So 15% would be 22. But I mean, that it doesn't feel like a ton when we're missing 22 kids, but it does depending on the class. All right, chat with each other. Did anyone make a mistake? If so, what do we need to tell them? You're allowed to turn around when we talk. Or you can bump over and chat with Nolan if you want. Yeah, I got home last night and realized I had taken the smartboard pen home, so that is what I'm digging for right now. Where did I put my smartboard pen? I brought, well, that one's there. Aha! Y'all keep deodorant in your backpack? Because you should. Alright. Nolan, you just got back. Do you know what we're doing? It's kind of why I encourage Chase to bump over. We'll come back to you. We'll better your card. Will's not here. Harrison, if we look at Claudia, now we just reviewed that we need to be comparing new to original. Did Claudia do it right, or does she need any pointers? So 14 to 4. Looks like Claudia used 14 off the original. And those sides are what we call corresponding, right? They go with each other, the corresponding sides. Chase, what do you think about with Isaac? Did he do it right, or does he need any feedback from you? Yeah. 28 from the new, 8 from the original. Seems all right. Lila? What about Paula? She did it right. 21 from the new, 6 from the original. So wait, if we do the math, all of those are going to come out to be the same. So what would we call our scale factor then? Because they just gave us 3 different scale factors, supposedly. I mean, we could go down to 7 to 2, or if you want to use a decimal number, 3.5. Questions? Yeah, my plan is that we're kind of moving fast today because I'd love to give you some more homework time and get people to turn in their homeworks because I did not like putting in 5 missings for some of you. So this is on your paper. We just didn't have any of the side lengths labeled. So go ahead and add those side lengths. So you're going to need to put in that 6 on the bottom. We're going to need to put in this 10. But I think we already said our scale factor is 5/4. So I need you guys to find, it's on the front at the top right. It just didn't have those extra numbers. You have the 5 and the 4. Right? Have we all found it? We got some people looking more confused than we should.
Oh.
We need to figure out what X and Y are here. We need to figure out X and Y. So go ahead, work with your partner if you want. Get a calculator if you need. We need to figure out X and Y. Sorry, I should have left space below the triangle so you could write the edge lengths. Or inside, maybe. You have the shapes, as I said twice already. You don't have the other numbers that I highlighted, like 6 and 10. You didn't have those on your paper, but the shapes are there. We had said the scale factor is 5/4. And they're also showing that up there. How do we figure out X and Y? Caroline, do you want to do X or do you want to do Y? Caroline is here. Caroline. Way to disappoint. None of you guys really watch. Well, not none of you. Some of you watch the class videos, but I don't think that I believe every student who's sick watches the videos. But if Caroline does, maybe there will be something in it for her. Kyrie, you want to do X or Y?
I'm still working, I'm sorry.
It's fine to still be working. I haven't even started up here. You want to help me with X or Y?
I've worked on X, I haven't finished Y.
Alright, tell me what you've done so far.
So since I had 6, I multiplied it by the scale factor.
Ooh, so Kyrie said if I know the scale factor, I can just take 6 times 5/4. Multiplying fractions is straight through. So 30/4.
And that, I'm pretty sure goes down to 7.
Yeah, 7.5. So when we're following, like from the original to the new, we can just multiply the scale factor. But why, Eva, feels like it's going to be different?
I mean, I divided it by 10 by 5/4.
So Eva says she took 10 and divided by 5/4. Did anyone do something different? Ooh, Madeline?
Like, so in my brain, so I'm thinking of like, it's like, so 1 whole of y plus a fourth of it equals 10. So like, I
Wait. 1 whole plus of.
like whatever
Oh.
it is.
Okay.
That's like what my brain does. And
So wait, you just said y times. You essentially, whether you thought this or not, you essentially just said y times 5/4.
yeah,
Yeah, because you said a y and another fourth of y. Okay.
and then that equals 10. So I like, I don't know. So I thought like, I don't know, I kind of just went through it in my brain and I knew like 1/4 of like 8 equals 2.
Yeah.
8 plus 2 is
So you kind of like reasoned your way through it. That wasn't really like calculating, but I love it. I love what you did. We won't always be able to do that because the numbers get more complicated. It's like, Lydia, what'd you do?
For X, can I talk about what I did for X?
I mean, this is really the way I would like you to get X, but sure, go ahead if you would
What
like.
I did is I knew 1/4 is easier for me to work with when I'm not multiplying, because I forgot that I could multiply.
Okay.
Than 5/4. So I just was like, okay, so what's a quarter of 6?
Yeah.
1.5.
So I mean, you basically did this. You just broke it apart.
Yeah.
But how do we do Y?
I found a quarter of 10 and subtracted it.
That does not work. That does not work. You do not get the correct answer. Because try to use the answer that you had and go back. You won't get the right answer. Because all of this, now I love that Lydia said that. Because all of this has to work multiplication and division. Lydia broke the rule by trying to use subtraction. That won't work here. Vivian?
I did 10 times 4 over 5.
Guys, if you're going the opposite direction, we could also just use the reciprocal. Oh, you can't really see that 5. Let's change to bright green or something. So if you need to go the reverse direction, you can divide by the scale factor. Instead of multiplying by the scale factor, we could divide by the scale factor. Well, guys, what happens when we divide by a fraction? We did keep, change, flip. And when you change, flip, you get times 4/5. Either of these should get us back to a y value of 8. We should get a y value of 8. So you would have gotten 7.5, right? If you did a quarter of 10, can't subtract. Now, if you had switched it instead of a quarter, because you fell into the trap of a quarter, to using fifths, you could have thought it through using fifths. But still, it'd really be a multiplication. Questions on this? A feels too E-word. Let's do B. You guys vote C or D. We're going to do B. B and D? Okay, let's do B and D. Find those unknown sides. And then honestly, I think after that, we're just going to have time to work on homework. Find those unknown sides in B and D. So that does not mean sneakily start your homework right now. These are not on your paper. I want you talking with each other, like writing down whatever you need to. You don't need to draw the shapes. You don't need to do everything. Just how can we get to X? How can we get to Y? How can we get to X? How can we get to Y and Z?
There's a second number at the top of.
I know, that's why I'm not going to be able to see B and D at the same time. Let's just start with B. Right, let's just start. I mean, you can start D, but you can't see the very bottom. Well, that's Y. Actually, I can label that and we can do it. We know that's Y. Well, we know, quote unquote, that's Y. There's not another number up here. Wait. How? Oh, I see what they did. What sort of shape is B? A parallelogram,
So it's
So
the
the
same.
top is 24.
which means the bottom and the top are going to be the same. So y here, okay, that really wasn't that difficult because it was just kind of like a fill in the blank sort of thing. Anyone want to volunteer to tell me how to get to x? Jack?
In B or
In B. I mean, yeah, let's start on B, and then we'll scroll down and focus on B.
so I multiplied 9 by 2 to get 18, and then used 6, which is 2/3 of 9, to add up to 24. So I used a skill factor of 2 2/3 to get sorry.
Did anyone else just get confused? Because I got confused.
Really confused.
Yeah, I didn't really follow what you said, Jack. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I got confused. Can you say it again or differently, maybe?
Should I just say blatantly what the skill factor is?
I mean, sure.
The skill factor is 2 2/3.
So, how did you figure that out?
I multiplied 9 by 2 to get 18.
You're fine. Sorry, go ahead. What you did is right. I just think you're describing it in a way that might be confusing to people.
And I used 2/3 of 9, which is 6, and added it to 18 to get 24. So 2 2/3.
So here's what Jack did. He like reasoned through. If I double, it's not enough. If I triple, it's too much. You're right. Great solution. Just more difficult than it needs to be. Remember, math is already hard. The other way that we can find scale factor is literally just set up the new to the old, which they don't tell us here what's new and what's old. But if I'm trying to get to x, I want to go that way, which makes this my quote-unquote new. Now on your test, I tell you, here's the original, here's the new, find the scale factor. You need to be doing new divided by original. So here, if we make this the new, it would be 24 divided by 9. Which if we reduce, we can divide by 3, right? Which 8/3, which is 2 2/3, like Jack said. But okay, if that's our scale factor, what do we do with it?
We multiply 6 by it.
So we would take 6. Now, and this is why I like the fraction form. I'm going to do 6 times 8/3. Oh, hey, look. A 6 on top and a 3 on bottom. What can you do with a 6 on top and a 3 on bottom?
Make the 6
Yeah, we can cross-reduce. You don't have to. We make that 2, and that makes x 16. Questions on how we found that? Let's quickly do D because I would like to give you homework time. Anyone quickly able to identify and explain to us what scale factor you want us to use here? Because they don't tell us what's the new, we can go whichever way we want. We can go whichever way we want. Did you? 6 over, if I'm going this way, we can call the scale factor 6/4, and that would help me get my x, right? So if we're going this way,
It could
now
also
what
be
is 6/4
halves.
reduced?
3 halves.
3 halves. 6 times 3, then divide by 2. So what would x be? 6 times 3, then divide by 2. Yeah, 9, right? Now what about if I'm going, I want a different color. What about if I'm going, I guess these are the only two corresponding that we know. Right? We gotta make sure that we use the corresponding. What if I'm going that way? I heard somebody say it. I'm going this way. What's my scale factor?
2/3.
4 6, or it reduces to 2/3. Okay, so to find y, what's 12 times 2? 12 times 2, then divide by 3. Not 9.
8.
8, right? 12 times 2 is 24. Divide by 3 gives us 8. And we're probably going to want a calculator to deal with 5.7 times 2/3. I would like you to specifically make sure. Actually, I guess there's only really one main scaling problem. If you want the next homework, you're welcome to get it. It's in the Wednesday slot back there. this is what our week looks like right now. I'm not quite sure about Friday, but like, this is what I got planned. So, over here, to help you that like being told what to do, because honestly, like, I'm kind of like that. I'd rather be told what to do. This is now going to be our log of what you should be turning in. It is trailing what was assigned by 2 days, which has been our goal all year long. Of like, your homework should be done 2 days later because you're a human with stuff going on. I get it. You're not a robot who can just go home and just chug through all your work like that day, always. So, 621 was from last week. Same with 622, right? Those should have been turned in yesterday. So today, 623 was from Friday, right? And we're talking 2 school days. So you had Friday, you had Monday, it's due now, right? So you've had 2 days. So Monday's homework, 624. You had Monday, you have Tuesday, it's getting collected Wednesday. And I'm doing this shift because, like, my goal with collecting on Friday was to alleviate stress from you guys. But for some of you, that is backfiring. Because you are putting things off, you are forgetting about them, and then comes around Thursday night or Friday morning, and the panic monster comes out. And then, I forget all the characters in that movie. What was it? Procrastination, or instant gratification, something. Either way, panic monster's not great. And that's where I get some people slopping down some work that doesn't make sense and makes it like look like you don't know what you're doing. So, if you don't have 623 done, I'd work on that right now, because it's due today, and I'm going to update those grades tonight or tomorrow. Because I didn't like what I did this morning, dropping 5 grades in at once, because I forgot to update grades last week. I just straight up just forgot. Like, true confession, I just forgot. I had them in my book, I didn't put them in math. So this morning I put in 2 weeks worth of grades, which luckily last week was short. But guys, some of you had 5 missings going this morning. I don't want to do that again this year. I'm going to put in grades like 1 or 2 at a time, instead of a week worth. Okay? Does this make sense? Anyone have questions about how we're shifting the homework expectation? So whatever's, if it's done, turn it in. If it's not, that's fine. I'm also going to post the answer key on Schoology, so that you can, after you've done it, go and check and see, did I get it right? Did I do it right? But if you think, ooh, I don't have to do my homework, I can just go write down the answers, because our work takes way more than just the answers. All I'm posting is the answers. There's way more work that goes with our work than just the answers. Like on your homework right now, you need graph paper. So I would right now get graph paper to go with that homework and maybe do those graph paper questions. Any questions about how we're shifting things? I'm going to leave you alone for the last 10 minutes. Yes?
For 695, you put the measurements in order.
Yeah, you're welcome. I forget if CPM did that or if I did that. But at this point, I really hope you could put numbers in order. So sometimes I just like do it for you. But honestly, that's because that's not the problem I'm worried about. Guys, the problem I'm worried about is this one. Can you graph? Do you understand slope and y-intercept? Because some of us still don't. So if you are struggling on this, get help from Homework Help or come see me. These equations aren't both given in the same order. Watch out for that. Yeah, so these are in order. Now, is it odd? Because then that would be really nice too. If the whole set was odd and then when we took it out, if they were still odds. Like, actually that can't happen. Sorry, it would have to be odd even. Alright.